In the small, forgotten town of Eldermere, nestled deep within a dense forest, stood an ancient house known as Blackwood Manor. The townsfolk whispered tales of its dark past, of the family that once thrived there, and the tragedy that befell them. The story began with the arrival of the Blackwood family, a prosperous clan known for their wealth and charm. However, as time passed, peculiar occurrences began to plague the manor. It was said that on stormy nights, the shadows within the house would move on their own, whispering secrets to those who dared to listen. The family's youngest daughter, Eliza, was particularly drawn to these whispers. She would often sit alone in the dimly lit parlour, her head tilted as if straining to catch the voices of the unseen. Her parents, preoccupied with their social standing and business affairs, dismissed her fascination as mere childhood imagination. One fateful evening during a raging storm, Eliza ventured into the attic, drawn by a particularly loud cacophony of whispers. As she ascended the creaking stairs, the air grew thick with a chilling presence. The attic was filled with dust-covered furniture and cobwebs. But in the corner stood an old mirror, its surface tarnished and cracked. As she approached, the whispers intensified, swirling around her like a tempest. "Help us," they pleaded, echoing through the stillness. Eliza, entranced, reached out to touch the mirror. The moment her fingers brushed against the glass, a cold wave of energy surged through her, and the world around her warped. She found herself staring into the depths of the mirror, where shadows danced and twisted, revealing glimpses of the past. A family torn apart by greed, betrayal, and a thirst for power. The whispers grew louder, revealing the fate of the Blackwoods. They had made a pact with dark forces to maintain their wealth, but the price was steep, their souls. Desperate to escape their fate, they had hidden their secrets within the mirror, binding their anguish to its surface. Eliza realized she was the last of the Blackwood line, and the shadows were calling for her to complete the pact. Panicking, she stumbled back, but the whispers morphed into screams, echoing through the manor. "Join us!" they cried. In that moment, Eliza understood that the shadows were not just remnants of her family's past. They were trapped souls, seeking freedom at any cost. Overwhelmed by fear, she fled the attic, bolting down the stairs, her heart pounding in her chest. But the shadows followed, slithering through the hallways, their whispers now a cacophony of despair. "You cannot escape," they cried, their voices mingling with the howling wind outside. Eliza burst into her parents' room, breathless and terrified. She pleaded with them to leave the house, to escape the darkness that had taken root within its walls. But her parents, consumed by their vanity and dismissive of her fears, laughed. "Child, there's nothing to fear. It's just an old house," her father scoffed. Just then, a blinding flash of lightning illuminated the room, and for a brief moment, the shadows coalesced into a figure, a gaunt, hollow-eyed version of Eliza, reaching out with skeletal fingers. Her parents screamed, their faces frozen in terror as the figure lunged at them. Eliza watched in horror as the shadows enveloped her family, their screams swallowed by the darkness. The house trembled, and the whispers transformed into a haunting lullaby, luring her back toward the attic. Alone and trembling, Eliza ascended the stairs once more, feeling the weight of the shadows pressing down on her. In the attic, the mirror glimmered ominously, beckoning her to return. The whispers now seemed to promise solace, a way to save her family if she embraced her fate. Torn between despair and hope, Eliza reached for the mirror once more. As her fingers touched the glass, she felt a surge of power. "Release us!" the voices cried, and the mirror shattered, shards scattering like stars across the floor. In that moment, the shadows erupted, swirling around her, trying to pull her in. But Eliza, fueled by a newfound strength, shouted back, "No, you will not take me!" With a final defiant scream, she shattered the last remnants of the pact that bound her family. The shadows wailed in agony, their forms dissipating into the ether as they were finally freed. The house shook violently, and a blinding light enveloped Eliza, lifting her away from the chaos. When the light faded, she found herself standing in the now empty attic, the whispers silenced. Blackwood Manor was free from its curse, but Eliza was forever changed. She left the house that night, never to return, carrying the weight of her family's history and the echoes of their whispers, a chilling reminder of the darkness that once held them captive.